Before we get into today's video, I want to ask you this question. Do you want the Saints to make a trade? Whether it's for a player, whether it's trading somebody away, I want to hear from you in the comments section. As for what we're talking about, we're going to talk about some trade rumors. Bleacher Report put out a really interesting article, and so I'm going to go through that article and find a few players that I think would be an interesting match in New Orleans. Starting off with the Chief, David Njoku, the tight end in the Cleveland Browns. First of all, this guy is a freaking dog. I want it on record. This dude is a freak of nature. He is a very, very good tight end in my opinion. He's had some ups and downs in terms of the availability with some injuries here and there, but I do think that he is a really nice player. He's entering the final year under contract in Cleveland, only 28 years old. Again, I talked about the injuries. He hasn't actually participated in a full season since his sophomore campaign in 2018. And the Browns did address the tight end room. Unlike the Saints, they did not add to the tight end room until Maliki Matavao in round 7. They drafted Harold Fannin Jr. out of Bowling Green, who I was really high on. Was it Bowling Green? Yeah, he's at Bowling Green. Yeah, because he stayed in orange and brown, or he was in orange and brown, stayed in orange and brown. Anyway, Harold Fannin Jr. was drafted in round 3 by the Cleveland Browns, so it begs the question, could David Njoku potentially get on the move? Now, fun fact, when I was out at Super Bowl Radio Row in New Orleans, I had the opportunity to talk with David Njoku. And right before I show you this clip, I want to add some context here. There was a stand out there giving out gumbo, little samples for the people who don't live in New Orleans. You get a taste of Louisiana, if you will. They had gumbo that was over potato salad. They had gumbo that was over rice. Fun fact, David Njoku loves gumbo. If you don't know what I mean, or if you're saying, Trizzy, what the hell are you talking about? Check this out.
David, what do we think of the gumbo?
Fire.
What'd you have, the rice or the potato salad?
Both of them. You sending me shit headed with fire.
Absolutely. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
Gumbo is fire. I tried the potato salad with the gumbo for the first time ever. I'm going to be honest, Lopez. It was good. It was a game changer. I've never had it before. I've always done it over rice. Over potato salad was pretty solid. Just going to put that out there. Anyway, let's get back to football here because the Saints tight end room, they are dealing with some injuries. So in terms of does this make sense? I think it could. And I think that David Njoku would be a very tantalizing player to put in the black and gold. Not only are we dealing with injuries for Foster Moreau and Taysom Hill, you also just got back Dallin Holker for the first time at minicamp. We saw him participating because he was sidelined with a minor injury during OTAs. So this is a beat-up tight end group. Juwan Johnson, I do have some high expectations and high hopes for. Foster Moreau, Kellen Moore has gone great lengths to commend him for his leadership. Taysom Hill, Kellen Moore said he will be a key part of the offense when he's available and when he's healthy. But Jack Stoll, Maliki Matavao, those were both players that the Saints brought in this offseason. Jack Stoll as a free agent, Maliki Matavao, a draft pick on day 3. Again, this is a beat-up tight end group. So when you go and talk about whether or not the Saints need a tight end, I think that they could use one. And to be honest, it just overall raises the talent level of the tight end group. And not to mention, Taysom Hill won't be available until late in the season anyway, and he's not a true tight end. He's a football player. He's an offensive weapon. He is Weapon X. I just don't think that it would be a bad idea to kick the tires on this. For what it's worth, David Njoku is an absolute dog. I know that we talked about the injury history. Do you guys remember when he burned his face and then played that same week? Unbelievable. I'm going to be honest. I don't care if they won or lost this game. I don't know. Maybe he didn't even have a single catch that game. I don't know. But I can tell you right now, he's an absolute dog. I can tell you right now, this is horrifying to look at. I can tell you right now, that man right there is somebody who I want on my roster because he's going to show up on game days. And over the course of his career, David Njoku has been fairly productive. Over 10 yards per catch every season except for 2024 over the last 4 years. 5 touchdowns in 24. 6 touchdowns in 23. 4 in 22 and 4 in 21, but he also had over 800 yards in 2023. I think that this is a player, if you scheme plays up for him and if you put him in Kellen Moore's offense, he can really, really thrive. I'm very high on David Njoku, and I think that this would make a lot of sense. But again, don't overpay for a player like David Njoku. You don't want to trade away the future just to go and get a guy who would be nice for a few years. And sure, he could be pretty productive for 3, 4, 5 years, but I also don't want to trade away prime assets for a player that isn't or that isn't very young. 28, it's not old, but it's not young by any means. So I just think that that's something to monitor. I think that's something to discuss. And for what it's worth, I think that David Njoku, he would look sick in the black and gold. Are you kidding me? He would look good. Now, coming up, we're going to talk more New Orleans Saints trade rumors. I got 2 more players, 1 offense, 1 defense. One's a big body wide receiver, so hang tight with me for just 1 second. But, guys, I need a little help. And by little help, I mean the most minuscule amount of help that I could possibly ask. $46,499. I need one of you. I just need one singular person to have my back on this. Who's got my back? Who's a diehard Saints fan? Who hates the Atlanta Falcons? If that describes you, subscribe to Saints Now by Chat Sports. I need one of you. Come on, guys. Who's going to help me out? Subscribe for daily Saints content by Saints fans for Saints fans. Trade target number 2, Courtland Sutton, 6'4", 216 pounds. Lopez, did you know there is not a single wide receiver in New Orleans taller than 6'2"? It has been talked about quite a bit here on the channel. This player right here, Lopez, 6'4". It's tall. That is bigger than 6'2". Is that a selling point enough for you? If not, let's keep it going. He, in my opinion, he would immediately improve the wide receiver group in New Orleans. And as to why he could be traded, he has yet to earn an extension from Denver. He's entering the final year of his contract, and so it may be the Denver Broncos are like, let's see what we can get for him. Maybe we can get a nice little return on a player like Courtland Sutton. And over the last 4 years, I mean, he's coming off his best season. Over 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns in 2023, 10 touchdowns. That's unbelievable. I would love for Tyler Shuck or Spencer Rattler to have a player like this in the end zone, in the red zone. I think it would be extremely helpful if he was around to be a safety blanket and be just the guy say, F it, he's down there, he's tall, he can go get it. For what it's worth, he's just as tall as Juwan Johnson, who people have been saying could be that big body wide receiver that they're looking for. I do think that Courtland Sutton is an interesting option. I think that he's a player that could bring some juice to the wide receiver group. And for what it's worth, I think, honestly, I'd love to bring him in. I don't think you're going to have to trade away you're the kingdom. You're going to have to trade away a lot to get him. And I think that he would be a really, really good complement to Chris Olave, to Rashid Shaheed, to Brandon Cooks, because he's just a different type of wide receiver. He's tall. He's bigger than them. I think that that is a thing that the Saints are missing. And Bleacher Report even said if the Denver Broncos can't rekindle the magic of 2024, the team could become sellers ahead of the trade deadline. One candidate to be sent packing is Courtland Sutton, the polarizing wide receiver now entering the final year of his contract. Now, look, Courtland Sutton is not going to answer all your questions. He's not going to make your team a Super Bowl contender immediately. That being said, he will improve the offense, and he will help out in a passing offense that, quite frankly, last year was terrible, but new quarterback, new offensive mind running it. All of these things are different. So it's nice to see a player like Courtland Sutton potentially join the New Orleans Saints, but I just doubt he leaves Denver. I'm going to be honest, I just don't think he's going anywhere. I think it would be cool, but it takes 2 to tango. If Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos don't want to trade him, then they don't have to. If they do want to trade him, they can. And I would hope that the Saints would be one of those teams that come calling and come knocking on the door. So pay attention to the Denver Broncos during training camp in the preseason. Watch them over the first few weeks, and then let's see where they're at the trade deadline, and we'll kind of keep checking in on this idea because, again, I do think it makes sense. The wide receiver group in New Orleans, for what it's worth, I think is underrated. Lots of speed here. Lots of athleticism, lots of speed, great agility, very dynamic wide receiver group. However, you're missing size. Bub Means, one of the biggest receivers on the roster. Again, you do not have a player over 6'2", or he's the biggest player, biggest receivers on the roster. You do not have a player over 6'2" in the wide receiver depth chart. So, in my opinion, I think it makes sense. A lot of the wide receivers, for what it's worth, have said that they feel comfortable not having a big-bodied player like that. They actually feel comfortable rolling with what they got because of the ability that they have in terms of their speed. They're able to get open really easily. And Brandon Cooks even said it. I think he made a good point of you don't necessarily need to be more physical. Being a wide receiver is about just creating space. So if you can beat that man one-on-one, you're good. I don't necessarily disagree, But I also do think having some size over the middle would be very beneficial. Now, really quickly, we're going to keep this party going, but I need to tell you all about the clearance hoodies. Guys, they are almost gone. What are you doing? Quit waiting around. They're going to be gone before you know it. Lopez, I'd like to bet. I don't think there's going to be a lot of these left next week. I bet before Father's Day, by Father's Day, they are swiped. So if you guys want to get one of these, chatsports.com/Saints hoodie sale. These are the sideline hoodies that were worn by players, coaches, staff, personnel. If you want one of these, go get one with the link in the comments and description of this video, or just search chatsports.com/Saints hoodie sale. Let's go back to the defensive side of the football. I want to talk Khalil Mack. This is a player we've talked about here on the show, not in a while, but we've done it a couple of times. I still think that he's an extremely impactful football player. I think that Khalil Mack has not shown hardly any signs of slowing down whatsoever. I mean, this is a really, really talented guy. He's a Pro Bowler selection each of the last 3 seasons. He had a career-high 17 sacks in 2023. Last year, only 6. But this is still a really, really nice football player. He signed a 1-year, $18 million extension in March with the Los Angeles Chargers. They really have liked what they got out of him. So I do think when it comes to trading for Khalil Mack, sure, maybe it's worth it. I also think that you should consider it. I think you should kick the tires. Just make a call. It doesn't mean you have to. Just see what's up. It's no question. The Saints pass rush last year was extremely underwhelming. They weren't good. I want to say it was like 34 or 39 sacks. They had less than 40 sacks last year. Not ideal. They were in the bottom half of the league in sack production. They had a lot of pressures. Did not have a lot of production, though. Yes, 39 sacks, 84 QB hits, tons of pressures, not much production. But for what it's worth, you did see some improvement over the last 5 games in the second half of the season. But you got to get better pass rush and better sack production than this. I mean, nothing against Brian Brzee. 7.5 sacks, I love it. Make that the number 2 or number 3 guy. Chase Young, I need more than 5.5. Carl Granderson, I need more than 5.5. Cam Jordan, I know you're old, man. 4 sacks, give me more than that. Alontae Taylor, keep doing your thing, man. You're doing just fine. Keep playing your game, Alontae. And of those of you are like, whoa, what the Saints gonna do? They can't afford these players. They don't have money. All right, first of all, I'm going to tell you right now, get your ass out from under a rock. Second of all, I'm going to tell you, make sure you're turned on your notifications because clearly you have not been paying attention to Saints football. And third, I'm going to tell you this right here. You have almost $30 million in cap space. $18 million on a guy who is 1 season removed from 17 sacks? Maybe. Not saying it's 100% worth it, but maybe. Or what about a player like Trey Hendrickson? Or what about a player like TJ Watt who's also holding out? Or what about any other pass rusher? Because the Saints need better pass rushers. They need better production out of the defensive line. And let's look at the stats from Khalil Mack. 6 sacks last year, 39 tackles. Again, 2023, one of his career best seasons, the best sack production he's ever had. This is a really interesting idea. He's been in the league since 2014. He is still a talented football player. I'm not saying go sell the farm. I'm not saying bank on this guy winning you a Super Bowl. But I am saying if you want to be competitive and if you think that maybe he's the missing piece, that could be a good move. Again, I should have started this whole video off by saying this up front. Said it kind of in the middle. Don't go sell the farm on this. Don't go and waste a bunch of future draft capital to potentially get a guy who maybe helps you out this year. Be sure in your moves. Be confident in the trades. Don't overpay. And maybe, just maybe, we can make something work out here. Do the Saints ultimately make a trade? I don't think so. But we're going to talk about it because in the offseason, every team, all 32 of them, are looking to improve every single day. And if the Saints can improve their roster by making a trade, then I'm going to discuss it. Now, what's the biggest position in need in New Orleans? Is it pass rusher? Is it cornerback? Is it quarterback? Is it running back? Wide receiver? Tight end? Should we just name all the positions? We could. What position is it? Because they need a lot. I want to hear from you in the comment section. Be the GM. Who Dat Nation, I really do appreciate y'all for tuning in to today's video. As always, I am your host, Trizzy Trace Girouard. Some fun rumors content for you today. Coming up later this week, we're going to have a mailbag, live Q&A, and a lot of other fun stuff. So be sure to subscribe. Turn on your notifications for me, for my guy, Loco Lopez. Y'all stay golden. We'll see you next time.